Hey guys, this is Millard's Minis in Medicine, episode 3. We are in the car, as you can tell. Where are we traveling?
We're headed to a medical school interview.
Woo!
Yes, first out of town interview.
Yes. Today is October 31st, 2018. Happy Halloween.
Got a little ghost.
We are sadly not really able to celebrate with the kids because we knew a little bit in advance that we were going to be traveling, so I didn't even buy costumes for them this year. I feel like this was the one year we were probably going to be able to get away with that. After that, Owen's probably going to have an opinion about what he wants to be.
We tried to put him in his costume, his Thanksgiving costume from last year. We tried that out a couple nights ago. It's a turkey costume.
It was very high water.
Very tight crotch
he was
area. He was not a fan at all.
The hood part,
Poor guy.
so,
Yeah. So what else are we doing this weekend in addition to...
Oh yes, tomorrow is our 4-year wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, babe.
Yep, me too.
So we are also, with this trip, going to get to have, kind of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to see one of my best friends, shout out to Kristen, while Jared's at his interview. And then we're going to get to spend a little bit of time just together. A little getaway. We still have Essie with us, but Owen's
Can you see her in the back in the
hanging.
mirror there?
With the grandparents. Thanks, Mom and Dad,
Yes.
Thomas and Millard, for watching Owen. And then after all of that, on Saturday, I'm gonna get to go to homecoming and be part of Zeta's 10-year anniversary. So I'm really excited to see some people in my pink sisterhood. So actually, it's probably
Me-Day, right?
Oh
Me-Day's
yeah,
gonna be there.
Me-Day. Shout out to Me-Day. So yeah, probably a lot of people that it's kind of crazy. Like I know their faces, but I've never even met because I'm really old in the club now.
But you're the legend.
Apparently, I'm a legend.
Yeah.
Tap number 2.
Someone at work approached me one day about, I guess his daughter is now in Zeta, and he was like, your wife is Erica Thomas. I was like, yeah, she's a legend. Anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
You are.
Don't forget it.
Yep.
So we're excited. Looking forward to all of these big events over the next couple of days and lots of celebrations and fun reunions. So it's going to be fun.
Yep.
So today's topic is the application process.
Yes. So we talked last time about the MCAT and how personally I feel like the MCAT can be... We should have actually done the MCAT on Halloween because I feel like it's this big monster and this spooky thing that everyone kind of freaks out about, which I think is a little bit overblown. But on that same token, I think that the application is something that is not always given the respect that it deserves because it's a bit of a hefty project as well. But you just don't really hear a lot about it. Like when I was getting ready for it or in my spring semester, everyone's talking about the MCAT, and you hear about the personal statement, which is one component of the application, but you don't hear about all the other essays you have to write, and letters to track down, and transcripts and all that. So today we're going to dive into a little bit of that. This is going to be focused solely on AMCAS, which is the American Medical College Application Service, and it's the platform that you use if you're applying to allopathic or MD schools, and those are the only schools that I applied to, so we're going to keep it generic, or we're going to keep it specific to that. There's also ACOMAS, which is for the DO or osteopathic schools, and then Texas has their own platform called, I believe, TMDSAS or something like that. So the majority, I think it's all schools other than just the Texas schools, and there may be a couple outliers that don't participate in AMCAS, but other than that, almost everyone does. So AMCAS is a program, it's a web-based program that you access with your AAMC ID, which is the same ID you use to register for the MCAT, to purchase the MSAR and look at all the information about different medical schools, to participate in the fee assistance program. So this is all through AAMC. So with the AMCAS, it's a web-based program. You log in, and I believe it opens up in the beginning of May for you to start putting information in. And the earliest you can submit your application is the beginning of June or maybe even the end of May, and that may even fluctuate on the year. Like, it may have to be open for a certain number of days. I'm not sure, but those are ballpark figures that are pretty accurate. So you do one central application that will be submitted to all of the schools that participate in AMCAS. So you don't have to send this individual application to every school. You do once you start getting to secondaries, and we'll talk about that probably in another episode, maybe today if we get to it. So all the information that you put in AMCAS, you can send to whatever schools you want to apply to that participate in AMCAS. So first bit of the application is just biographic information, where you grew up, I think household income, like where your parents, whether or not they went to school, things like that. I feel like the three big things that are like pretty important are definitely the personal statement. That's probably the most important, and the one you hear a lot about. The working activities or the extracurriculars or ECs section is a big chunk of time. Transcripts from all the institutions you've attended at the undergrad level, and then letters of recommendation. So those are the things we want to talk about today. So we'll start with the personal statement. And I did not do this, but I've heard a lot of people recommend this, and I think looking back on it, I would also recommend, like, start on your personal statement, like, as early as you can. At least, like, start sketching out ideas of, like, why you want to go to medical school. That's what you're asking. I think there's a specific prompt on there on AMCAS. It's like, I don't even know what it is, but basically you answer why you want to become a physician or why you want to attend medical school. So even if you're, a freshman or a sophomore, and like you think you're going to be pre-med and you want to go to medical school, I think it's important to start sketching out some ideas, and that'll change like as you shadow different doctors or you have different experiences. But the earlier you can start on that and just start thinking about, okay, why am I doing this? Because I think you should have a reason for why you're going through this process, and it's really just putting that down on paper. So think about it as early as you can. Like, I think I definitely had a reason for it, but I didn't really start writing mine. I was really late. So I was supposed to write my personal statement going down for our trip, our family vacation in May, like middle of May. So again, like I said, AMCAS is already open at this point. I haven't even started my personal statement. Don't do this.
And Jared actually rode to the beach with my parents, sidebar. And so I told my mom, make him write that personal statement.
She definitely
every
tried.
Few hours, she's like, have you written it? Have you written it? Have you written it?
I was just trying to stay alive in the heat, the sweltering conditions in there. So I started way late on mine. So if you can start earlier the better for sure. Allow yourself time for multiple drafts and to even like wad up the paper and throw it away and be like, I don't like this at all. So thankfully though, I feel good with my personal statement. I feel like it's accurate. It's an accurate representation of who I am and why I want to go to medical school, and a lot of the circumstances that were very important in why I'm on this path. So I'm glad that I was able to do that in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, and one thing I think you did well was he had like multiple people read it, because when I read it, like I know him, and so I know the whole process, but it was good to have like multiple people, I think, who didn't know him from the beginning read it, and everybody kind of caught different things about it that they were like, this is really good, or you should change this. And so I think that was good to have multiple perspectives on it. For
sure. Yeah. So again, I'd recommend just like write out a rough draft, send it to someone you trust, and then once you get towards your higher levels or like you're refining it, that's when I really think it's important to send it to a lot of people. And like Erica was saying, like I sent it to, like, clearly Erica read like every draft, which was like a huge help. So like have someone close to you that is articulate and can write well, and it's just like gonna give you honest feedback, not just like, oh yeah, everything's great. And Erica like satisfied all of those characteristics very well.
Maybe too well.
So definitely like do that on your early stages, and then once you like kind of feel pretty good about it, that's when you really want to just like start nitpicking it. So what I did is I think I sent it to probably like 12 or 15 people, and I chose people that knew me, like Erica was saying, like knew me well, people who didn't know me well, people who didn't even know why I wanted to go to medical school, people who did know why I wanted to go to medical school, and I would like not really give them leading questions. I would like have them read it, and then afterwards I'd be like, okay, tell me like your feedback, like just like from a writing perspective, and then also like from what you read, why do I want to go to medical school? And to make sure, like especially those people who didn't already know, if they could then tell me the reasons that I was thinking in my head and that I thought I was putting down on paper, then that really gave me confidence. Okay, I am communicating this effectively. And yeah, then also just like different levels of just a diverse group of people. So like one of my buddies, I sent it to like super articulate guy. I sent it to him for that reason. I sent it to someone else who's like, or my brother-in-law who's like finishing up grad school, so he's gone through this kind of thing. You know, my sister, who's also like a really good writer, and then I also sent it to some other friends who were also, you know, not knocking them at all, but it was funny, like some of them like came back with stuff that other people didn't. Like one of them caught like a potential like innuendo that I wasn't even trying, and then it crossed my mind, and it wasn't even like a reference that I'd even heard before. Hashtag homeschooler. So like just having that diverse group of people, I think honestly like helped, and it made sure too, like, oh, also I sent it to someone like who had their doctorate, another one who was already a physician, a resident, people who were like on ADCOM committees, or ADCOMs, or admissions committees. ADCOM committee is like saying SWAT team. I hate that. So yeah, so I think we kind of nailed that point about like proofreading, like having other people review it. Also, I think.
So, did you want to write this personal statement?
Did I want to?
Yeah.
No.
There were so many times I was like, just write the dang thing. He would put it off and off, and I was like, just go in that room and write a draft. Like, don't come out till you have a draft.
Yeah.
So you can be pushy with your significant
Yes. And then I think people write differently. Like, I feel like some people are good at just like writing a few lines and then, you know, pondering it and coming back the next week. Like, I heard someone who put it like in their sock drawer, and like they would write a draft, put it in their sock drawer, and then every time they had like empty their socks, which I never empty my sock drawer, they would read it again. Like if they still liked it, then they would like keep it in there, but if they didn't, they'd throw it out.
I think it is worth mentioning. One person kind of said to like scrap the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you did not end up listening to that advice.
No. That was like 2 days before I was going to submit
Yeah.
too. So at that point I was kind of frustrated.
So it wasn't all like totally positive feedback.
No. But the vast majority was, and it was consistent. So I looked at that as a little bit more of an outlier. I definitely like heeded his counsel and like made some adjustments off of it, but I didn't scrap everything. But like my writing personality, and I think my personality probably in general, is kind of, I'm not much of like a do a little bit at a time. I'm trying to become more that way, but I think I'm a lot more like when I'm in a pressure situation, like just do it all. And I've been successful at that. Like I know I need to work on that. So I wish that I would have like written a little bit, like, oh, I started in January, started writing my personal statement, instead I started in May and cranked it out. But that did work, and I think just having like a vast number of people looking over it was really helpful. But also I feel like I did feel some pressure, because you read these other personal statements, or you hear like all these great personal statements, and you can almost kind of like feel pressure to have like a similar story to them, or even a similar framework. And I just kind of rejected that and went off of, okay, what's my story? Why am I doing this? Like, what's authentic to me? And then like, what is something that like, when someone reads this and then when I interview there, those two things are going to be like very congruent.